Listen up, Texans. We have a special theme tonight dedicated to anglers that listen, also are patient and really pay attention to the details. In a lot of cases, they catch more fish than us guys. Tonight is Ladies' Night here on the one and only Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for tuning in to another week on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Captain Rick Murphy and Brie Gabrielle. We hope everyone had a fantastic Father's Day weekend on, in, or near the water and reeled in some fish. But for our show this week, we're doing something a little different and gearing everything towards the ladies who fish or want to get into fishing. Right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Brie. And you know, that's one of the things that I really admire about you is that the many times that we fished together, I believe that a lot of times the reason why you were successful is because, one, you really were paying attention to the details, like I said in the open, but you also listened and you absorbed everything that I told you and took it to the next time we fished or whenever you went fishing with somebody else. In my opinion, that's one of the things that's made you such a great angler.
Well, thank you very much. It takes a good teacher and, like you said, listening skills to get the job done. Well, let's say hi to Dave Ferrell at the CCA Workbench, who's going to help us out with some rigs and techniques and new products tonight, Dave.
Yes, we are. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the proper angling techniques, and we were talking about it's going to be for ladies, but it's really for everybody because ladies have no disadvantage when it comes to fishing.
Absolutely
They're
not.
just as good or better than the boys
Just advantages over
are.
here. Just advantages. All right, starting us off in the Middle Coast region where there are plenty of opportunities for lady anglers is Captain Bink Grimes. So, Bink, give us the lowdown.
I tell you, your eyes are not deceiving you. There are more ladies on the water than ever before, and they're serious. Some of the best anglers on my boat are ladies. They listen and they learn. They have no ego. They smile, they cast, they catch, and they catch. Some of my best vacation memories have come while fishing with my wife and daughter. We enjoy traveling to Louisiana and Florida and fishing out of others' captains' boats. And my wife and I, this last week we caught limits trout in West Bay on my day off. In Rockport, the Babes on the Bay is a really, really popular event. Gets a lot of women involved. In Matagorda, the Lingerie on the Bay, it's an offshore tournament. Brings out all the pink rods. And hey, guys, I mean, it behooves you to bring your lady and put her on the water. A lady who likes to fish also likes to buy new boats. So think about that.
Good point. Good
I
point.
tell you, the surf finally got right last week, and there were plenty of hungry trout willing to eat top waters and soft plastic. It wasn't the quickest bite due to the weak tides, but when the moon said the fish were supposed to bite, they bit. Then waders found fish on the edge of the second gut there on she pups and she dogs. Boaters tossed live shrimp under a popping cork. Great catches were found from Surfside to Port O'Connor. And then sand and grass in the bay, in West Matagorda Bay, held scattered catches of trout on topwaters and soft plastics. Live croakers had a consistent bite, which is normally the case this year. Deep reefs and palacios have been consistent on live shrimp. Spots like Coon Island and the Sucking Barge have been popular. Then the east end of East Matagorda Bay cost up some really good trout. It's a muddy wade on that end, but that mud is a few degrees cooler, and those trout love to hang there. Then waders have found good trout on the edge of the ICW around the Chinkapin Reef on the incoming tides. And in Port O'Connor, topwater bite's been good early, and then live bait's been best when it heats up. Waders are working those flats next to Pascaval where the tidal flow occurs. They're basically fishing for those same fish that are coming in and out of the surf. We call them tide runners. Rockport, those flats around Mud Island and Allen's Bight, same thing, coming right through the pass in Aransas Pass. That photo there, check out, that's Ashley. Ashley catches a lot of big fish. That's girlfriend of Captain Michael Quebec here in Matagorda, and she has caught many, many big fish just like that. Pretty impressive.
That is
We'll
impressive.
go to redfish. Lots of bull redfish on the Port O'Connor jetty on finger mullet and crabs in about 35 foot of water. Same holds true in Freeport and Surfside. Matagorda tides, they've dropped a little bit with the high pressure, and it's pushing those redfish off the shorelines. As they gradually drop, we inch closer. As we get closer to July, those fish go right in the middle of the bay, and they start schooling and slicking up, and we try to get right behind them and drift right behind them, those slicks, and throw shrimp and other plastic shrimp at them. It's a pretty good deal. Don't be surprised if everybody, when you finally hit a school, everybody's bowed up on them. In West Matagorda Bay, the North Shoreline's held good schools of redfish on those small brown shrimp are pouring out of the bay, and they're getting in there in those grassy shorelines. Many of the fish have been in the 6 to 9 pound range on live shrimp under a mid-coast cork. We'll go to offshore, the red snapper and the triple tail. Until they close red snapper around here, snapper will be the target of all offshore anglers. The Gulf was really tranquil this week. There's several guys that went out and got their trout in the surf, then hooked them out about 5 or 6 more miles out and got their red snapper. Those guys that went out 15 to 20 miles in 80 foot of water found snapper to 20 pounds. The sheer number of large snapper are great. It's pretty encouraging from Freeport to Matagorda to Port Aransas to Port O'Connor. Just really been good. And then those weed lines and trash lines, they're holding lots of triple tail. Some of them duped those triple tail on live shrimp, fished to 25 pounds last week, right on the weed line. And those triple tail will make their way into West Matagorda Bay throughout the summer. We'll be chasing them under the buoys and under the ICW markers. There's a photo right there. Ken Marshall, he found that impressive 25-pound triple tail after he got his limited trout. He went and got some cobia, and he pitched to a triple tail and took home dinner for that night.
All right, thanks so much, Bink. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the CCA Texas hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says trout area is good at Coon Island and the sunken barge near Palacios on live shrimp. Lots of reds along the north shoreline of East Matagorda Bay behind the slicks. Man, that triple tail was built like Dave. Just like Dave.
That belly, though. All right, the Startron Middle Fresh region is also a great region for lady anglers to get their fishing on. So, Matt Loescher, why don't you tell us how to get more involved?
I sure will, Brie. I actually had a lady on my boat today kicking the men's butts. It was a lot of fun to watch that.
Nice.
Just like you guys are saying, they're often the best fishermen, so I enjoy taking them out there. There's a lot of great opportunities for the ladies in the Middle Fresh region to get involved in fishing. There's a bunch of great lakes here, to fish, so you don't have to go very far to be on some fish-filled waters. There's a lot of great guides here that can help you get started if you're new to the sport or want to learn more about it. And there's some really good associations that the ladies can get involved in if they're interested in tournament bass fishing, especially. There's a lot of couples tournaments here, and there's one group of ladies that has really built a great platform for the ladies to compete in as far as the competitive side of the bass fishing goes. I mentioned them last season when we talked about this, and I've watched them grow since then. They're really doing a fantastic job building up their circuit. They're called the Lady Bass Anglers Association. These ladies travel all over the country fishing some great lakes. And in fact, this season they're competing on a couple of very popular lakes in Texas. This past May, they competed on Toledo Bend, and in September they're going to hold their championship on Caddo Lake up in the northern part of the state. So good lakes there that they're fishing right here in Texas. It's really exciting to see these ladies grow in the sport and getting better every year. Their tournaments are a boat or non-boater format, so if you don't have a boat, you can still compete. I've met several of these gals, and you couldn't ask for a better group to get involved with. They're very inviting, and they're always open to help new ladies join them in their passion and teach them along the way. So if you're interested, you can check them out at ladybassanglers.com to find out more information. I've got a photo here to wrap up the ladies segment. A couple of ladies holding up some real nice crappie they caught with my fellow guide Austin Watkins this week.
All right, Let's go ahead and talk about some bass, bub.
All right, I'm going to start off Mr. Thurman Selman up at Richland Chambers again. He's still keeping the good reports coming from Richland Chambers on the largemouth bass. He said that the water's still really stained up there, and it's hanging around 72 to 84 degrees. The lake is at pool level and rising slowly. So with several gates open at the dam, the bite's been pretty fair. The fish are coming in on topwater plugs in the morning near grass and on point, and then later in the day switch to a shallow diving crankbait and blade baits around docks with shades. Summer patterns are still evolving, with some bass showing up on the long points and ridges in 2 to 10 foot of water on the south side of the lake. Try fishing for them with a Carolina rig or a drop shot. And if you're interested in taking a guided trip with Mr. Selman, he'll put you on them. Just call him at 972-345-9370. He'll take care of you. And then down on Sam Rayburn, they're still catching a ton of smaller fish, shallow, and a few big ones if you can get on the right school of them out away from the bank. This past week, there was an FLW Costa Series event there, and Chris Wilson won that fishing offshore hard spots with a Carolina rig creature bait and deep diving crankbait. He caught some really nice fish, He weighed in a total for 3 days of 72 pounds and 8 ounces. He won the event by a 13-pound margin. So there's some really big ones to be caught out there right now if you can find the right school. Then over at Toledo Bend, I'm still finding the bass in that 15 to 20-foot depth range. They're set up on the early summer-type places like points and ridges, not too far from the flat. The lake level has kept a lot of fish from getting way out there because the lake level's been high. So stay up there close to the flat. Carolina rigs and deep diving crankbaits have been the best way to catch them. And the white bass action has also still been hot at Toledo Bend, especially early in the mornings and late in the evening. They're hanging out in 15 to 20 foot as well on main lake points and humps. Live minnows and jigging spoons have been the best way to catch those. This bite's best when there's more current running through the lake, and we just got a bunch of rain, so I'm expecting that bite to be really good throughout the week. So keep an eye out for that. Lastly, the crappie on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend are both biting pretty well. You want to look for those in 15 to 25 foot of water around standing timber and deep dock. Live minnows and panfish assassin jigs are the ticket to catching them right now.
All right, great report, Matt. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Middle Fresh hotspots from the Middle Fresh region. Matt says that bass are hanging on early in the summer points and the humps close to the flats in 15 to 20 feet of water. Use Carolina rigs and crankbaits to catch them. White bass are hot in the morning and the evening on minnows and jigging spoons in 15 to 20 feet of water. Minnows.
Minnows. All right, up next on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, we're seeing how the ladies fare in the Upper Coast region. But first, we'll be joining Dave for rigs and techniques, mostly techniquing, right, Dave?
Yep, it's Thanksgiving in June because we're going to have you trussed up like a turkey in a minute.
Oh, man.
It's
the
gonna be
words,
awesome.
the words.
We're going to put
Tie the
her,
girl up.
Good
we're
stuff.
putting the strap on you, man.
All right, we'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Garmin, join the club. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. And CCA Texas, a leader in marine conservation.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron.
If you're not a member of Coastal Conservation Association, you need to be. CCA fights on a national and state level for our fishing rights so that our children and grandchildren will have fish to catch today and in the future. CCA, through their habitat programs, create oyster and artificial reefs, as well as many other habitat programs. CCA also each year releases millions of trout, redfish, and flounder, so join myself, Brie, and Dave and become a member of CCA now.
We're here at the CCA Workbench for Rigs and Techniques.
Yes, we are.
It's
And
nice
it's
to be
ladies-
here, boys.
ladies' night,
It's
come
ladies'
on.
night, and we're feeling all right. Okay, before we get to the fighting techniques, I just want to tell you guys, the ladies out
It's
there.
a hair trick.
It's a hair trick. So I have my fish bites buff here, and I normally have two. I wear one on my neck, I put it on my wrist, and then I put it on my neck, and then when we run, so your hair doesn't get tangled, I just simply put it up like this, and it becomes a headband. And then when we're really running, I pull it back, and my hair is completely covered.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah, it's a cool trick. I use it all the
You
time.
remember when you used to be able to do that, Ray?
Yes.
Cover
I
it
can't
still-
remember
he
back
still
that
does.
far.
I got
He still does.
The one hair
He
I
needs to
have looked like a
sunburn.
blue quail sticking out the top of my head. But let's get into
a
this
blue
stuff.
Let's get into
Whale.
this stuff.
Well,
We got a lot.
first of all, we're going to talk about, one of the perceived weaknesses that women have, which I'm not I don't really think there is one, but is that they have a little lack of upper body strength. And I'm familiar with that myself because I don't work out a whole lot, as you can tell. I caught a big dolphin the other day. I never even took the rod out of the rod holder. I cranked him in on a bent butt. It was a big fish. But the perceived weakness is that that they can't lift a lot, which what you do in that situation is you try to make sure you have a really good belt and a good shoulder harness on board at all times. And the belt can either be a little belt like this that got to be fully adjustable, and I would suggest that you go ahead and adjust it beforehand, before you get a bite.
Right.
Make sure you put it on and get it whoever you want it on and get it done beforehand. I like belts with a gimbal in it because most of my rods have gimbals on the bottom that will fit into that slot right there, and it keeps the rod from twisting, and that's especially helpful for people who don't have a lot of strength.
Right.
I mean, the rod wants to twist when the fish goes from side to side, and that gimbal really helps a lot. Also, if you're fishing for a great big fish and you're, catching big tunas especially, or even you're going to think you're going to catch a marlin that's going to be on the line for a long time, you're going to want shoulder harness in association with a thigh harness. But
why don't you tell them about the cushion?
Yeah,
Bree?
so if you have multiple anglers on the boat, this belt's great. But if it's set up for one person and you're rushing to get the fish, then cushiots are great. They come in all models, all sizes. You can put it on the end here. This protects your boat, your cushions from the gimbal from getting scratched or poked or whatever. So these are great. I love them. It's my favorite.
All right, let's slide out
show
here and show everybody how this works, Bree.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to stand over here out of the way.
I'm ready to get clipped in.
I'll become the fish. Make sure, first of all, you always get that into the
get your gimbal onto the little doodad there.
And you clip in.
You clip in from the inside out. Always from the inside out.
All right.
And what you're trying to do when you're getting this set up is you want this reel to be fairly close to her body. You don't want it to be too far out, and you don't want it to be so close that she can't reel. It has to be out here where she can get her hand on the reel, and she's always going to have one hand at least on this on the reel in case something happens on the other end here. If you have a failure of your tackle and this thing comes swinging back,
come flying up and hit her right there. So
Right.
if you want to get rid of her, don't tell her to put her hand on there.
Yeah, always keep one hand right here.
Or wear a hat.
And cut the line.
And what you have to remember too is when you're doing this is that you're not a winch. You are a line retriever, and you have to really learn how to use your drag to fight the fish. And you're the one who controls all the pressure. You're the one who, if it's getting real hard for you, you can back off the drag a little bit. But you always have to remember that the more drag that you can put on the fish, the shorter this fight is going to be, because speed doesn't kill, drag kills.
Right.
Drag kills big fish. And when you can put all the drag that your tackle can withstand, that's when you're going to win. And girls can do it, guys can do it. It doesn't matter. Look, she is putting a lot of drag on this thing right now and not putting a lot of effort. And that's what you want to do. You want to maximize your effort and get a lot of drag on that other fish without hurting yourself. Because when you hurt yourself,
let's go to another region.
You're not going to do good when the next fish gets on.
Good job, guys. All right, Lake Fork and Levon are on fire this weekend in the Yeti Upper Fresh region, and according to Johnny Geis, so are the ladies. Tell us about it, Johnny.
Well, hello, Rick and Bree. Well, this week it's all about the ladies catching some big fish down here. My sister Mary Jo Gray and her friend Donette Marie caught their personal best this week. Mary Jo, she got her own boat, and she enjoys taking her ladies' friends out on Lake Fork and helping them learn how to catch some big bass. I've had many lady anglers in the boat this spring and summer, and I enjoy watching them get excited about boating the big ones. My most memorable trip so far has involved the moms and the kids and watching them experience the fun of fishing and overall outdoor experience, and they're having a ball doing that. This week I'm reporting again on one of the busiest crappie guides on Lake Fork that just happens to also be a lady guide. But before we get to that, here's a couple of pictures of those two personal bests this week. Here's Mary Jo with her big one, and her Donette, her friend Marie with another big one, both of them personal best.
Nice. You go, ladies. Those are nice fish.
All right, tell me about the crappie, Johnny.
Okay, Miss Terry Moon, I've talked about Terry before. Man, I saw her this morning. She is one busy crappie guide, especially in the spring and summer. She's catching a lot of big ones right now. Terry's got many repeat customers who've been fishing with her for many years. And she works about as hard as anybody, making sure customers have fun. They're exciting and a very successful fishing trip. Her and her faithful dog, Buddy, they meet up with their customers each morning at Lake Fort Marina, and she heads out to one of many fresh brush piles, and she builds them all herself, too. She puts them in strategic locations. Man, that allows her to fish even when the winds, and boy, we've had them this week. When they get too high for most anglers, she's got a place to fish. The spot lock feature on her trolling motor, she says, has greatly increased her limits this year because she can keep that boat right in the exact position over the brush out in that deep water where she drops her brush piles. Terry loves to take out the women and the kids who are just getting into fishing, and she about has the most patience around for the knowledge to make that learning experience fun and easy. So most crappie trips start out about 7:30, so you don't have to get up before daylight to parts out Lake Fort Marina. And usually by noon, you've got your limits, you're back to the dock, and then she fillets that morning's catch, bags them up for the customers to take home. So if any of our lady viewers are looking for a fun and enjoyable trip, not be intimidated about learning to fish, highly recommend contacting Terry Moon out of Lake Fort Marina. Promise you your trip will be safe, comfortable, and most importantly, very memorable. Terry provided a couple of pictures of just two of her lady customers this week, and those are close to 2-pound crappie, so they're still biting some good ones here.
Nice. All right, well, what do we got? What else you got for us this week, Bub?
Okay, good. We've got a new reporter helping me out here on Lake Levine. He's catching the white bass and crappie, and I'd like to introduce our viewers to Captain Kerry Thorne out of Plano, Texas. Kerry's an all-species guide in the Dallas Metroplex lakes, but his home lake is Lake Levine, so on the northeast side of Dallas. Kerry provides creek fishing trips, which also involve walking the creek banks of the Rowlett Creek and the East Fork Trinity River. Catches white bass and crappie in the winter and early spring, and guides his customers to his favorite secret spots on these great fishing creeks. But this week, Captain Kerry's been catching limits of big crappie and whites over at Lake Levine. He's provided us with this great report. Kerry says that the Levine crappie are holding 14 to 18 foot on the structure. Limits are quick if you just keep the 10-inch minimum size, but Kerry targets the larger ones, throws the small ones back. That best structure of these catch 'em on is what we call pole timber and brush pile, straight timber right out of the bottom. 16-ounce jigs using chartreuse and white as the best colors, working good. Kerry tries to find new spots each day. He says he's using the side skin electronics. He's located some big schools of crappie. But the most importantly is a careful and precise presentation that is the key to getting bit. Kerry says drop your jig vertically right on top or near the brush, hold it still about 15, 20 seconds, and then dropping it down again. The bigger crappie underneath the small ones, so the closer to the bottom, the where you find the big ones. So if you're around the Dallas area, give Kerry Thorne a call. Try a morning trip out on Lake Levine. Get you some limits of crappie and white bass. Have a good time. Fishing's hot in this upper region. Those the weather. I'm putting my T-top back on my bar on the boat, and we're getting ready for summertime action. So let's go fishing.
All right, thank you so much, Johnny. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the upper hot spots from the upper fresh region. He says Lake Fork and crappie continue to be most consistent bite. Fish holding tight to the brush piles. Both minnows and jigs are working good. And then Lake Levine, the water stained 78 to 83 degrees and 5.92 feet high. The white bass are good on slabs, crappie are fair on minnows, and catfish are good on trout lines.
Yep, Terry Moon on Lake Fork. She's a household name.
Yeah, man.
Her. She's a very sweet
Maybe
lady.
we should go fish with her, do a
Maybe
little
we
sportsman's
should. Terry,
episode.
shout out.
Come
Let's do
on,
it.
Terry.
All right, now's your chance to fish a big money tournament without huge entry fees. The Los Cabos Big Game Charter Boat Classic is the only tournament in the world that puts over $40,000 in cash plus prizes with no entry fees whatsoever. All visitors to Los Cabos have to do is enter a charter boat from the Los Cabos fleet during the 4-day event, which runs from November 19th through the 22nd, and fill out your registration form online. It's the only free angler entry tournament in Los Cabos, and you can choose to fish only one day or all 4. It's entirely up to you. November is the perfect time to visit the Los Cabos area. The weather is spectacular with mild day temperatures, calm seas, and an incredible game fish bite. World renowned for the large game fish swimming just offshore, the Los Cabos area boasts boasts some of the largest tuna, dolphin, and wahoo in the IGFA record books. There's no other tournament in the world quite like the Los Cabos Big Game Charter Boat Classic, and there's no better time than now to visit LosCabosTournaments.com and register to fish in this special no entry fee big game tournament. All right, the ladies are putting in their time on the water in the Upper Coast and Lower Fresh regions next, and we're also talking with a special guest from Fish Bites, so make sure to stay hooked. But before we go, we want to remind you that if you want to catch up with our crew and everything fishing in Texas, make sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and check us out on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. CCA Star, fishing fun for giant prizes and scholarships. And Proshek Smokehouse, a link above.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Today's power pole tip of the week is becoming more stealth with your poles. Now guys, think about this. We have 3 speeds on our power poles, and the one thing that we need to understand is that we can manipulate those speeds. We can go fast, medium, or stealth mode. Now whenever I'm making a move from an oyster bar over to a point, and I know I'm only gonna pick up the poles a few inches at a time, I simply click it into the stealth mode so that I can keep the noise level down to a very, very quiet approach. Now, you guys that love to bass fish and you're fishing fish that are on beds, that approach is the same thing. Make sure that you go into the stealth mode so that you can sneak up on those beds, put your poles down, and the bass doesn't know you're there. Keep in mind that by simply manipulating the speeds through your multifunction switch or through the app using the key fob, this will make a great approach, and that's today's power pole tip of the week. Well, I'd like to welcome Mike Carr from Fish Bites. You know, Mike, in the 80s, I was using Fish Bites to tip my bucktail jigs, and today we have a whole lot more of Fish Bites to talk about, so why don't we just get right into it. What exactly is Fish Bites?
Fish Bites is basically a synthetic alternative to natural cut bait. You can use it in place of cut shrimp and cut clam and squid. The whole thing about Fish Bites is convenience. You just cut a piece off, you put it on the hook, throw it in the water, and you're fishing. You don't have to mess with any stinky baits or baits that are suspended in some kind of stink juice, and that plays into being able to put it in your luggage if you're flying overseas to go fishing, or in your backpack for carry-on. It's all about convenience and ease of use, and we've caught a bunch of fish. We've sold 9 million units since we started making it, so it clearly does its job on the water.
So you just mentioned that we could cut it, but I want to fillet some of this back and show people how exactly does it work, Mike?
Well, the magic you're about to reveal is there's a mesh inside this gel, and so when you put the hook through that mesh, no bait stealers are going to come along and take that bait. So that gives you the advantage of just leaving the bait in the water, and even if you're in a bunch of bait stealers, you can just sit there and let the pole rat-a-tat-tat until something big comes along and really, and bends the pole.
So when the stuff gets wet, it starts to dissolve. Now,
Yes.
how important is for the shrimp flavor to taste like shrimp? How important is that?
Well, think of it this way. Let's say you're driving, you smell French fries, and you go and you get your French fries and you bite one and it tastes like cardboard. Not an awesome experience.
Right.
So the fish are kind of sort of the same way. If they smell a shrimp and they come in and they bite something and suddenly they're not getting the flavor they thought, they're liable to spit it out or just not take it. And that's the magic part of fish bites. That's the deal sealer. And that is that flavor. When they come in, they smell it, they hit it, and they inhale it. And then it's game on.
So if guys have any questions about how they can find out more information, certainly they can go to a local retailer in Texas.
Lots of retailers in Texas.
What about some online info? You got it?
You can go to fishbites.com, our website. You can email us at info@fishbites.com, but I highly encourage you to go to our social media sites like Facebook, and you will see hundreds of pictures from people from all over the world who have sent us pictures of the fish they've caught on Fish Bites.
I know I've caught a lot in my fair share.
All right,
so,
awesome.
And they also catch Captain Rick Murphy's. You've been chomping on a few. I've seen you. I've seen you. The Fish Bite is on fire in the Fish Bites Upper Coast region, and our captain, Carl Weston, knows a thing or two about ladies on the water. So, Carl, let's hear it.
Let's talk about lady anglers. I guess you could say this subject is one I have a lifetime of experience with. Having a wife and 2 daughters that fish, my mom, 4 sisters, all anglers as well. Some of my best days of fishing were, with these ladies on the deck with me. And as far as experience with lady anglers and children, they are super good luck on board and just as able and capable of bringing in good fish as any guy. So we got some tournaments in the area that have lady angler division or side pots. There's one in particular coming up August 2nd through the 4th at Surfside Marina. This is the Bach fishing tournament. This is an inshore and offshore tournament with ladies divisions. This tournament is being sponsored by the CCA and is a benefit tournament for Bach, a nonprofit organization that provides therapy services for children with developmental delays and disabilities in and around Brazoria County. So come on out and support a great cause and bring your ladies and get some big fish. Here we have a picture of a kingfish tournament of mine with 3 lady anglers, and they're winning tournament fish.
Nice.
Good job, ladies.
All right, what else we got for us going on in the Upper Coast region, Bub?
Well, we got trout, and they've been really good the last few weeks. They're good in there on the rock walls and sand flat in the whole lower Galveston Bay and Campbell Bay also. A lot of these fish have moved in through the jetties and are settling down in these areas. Being close to the Ship Channel and the Galveston Channel, we have a lot of tide coming in and out and keeping this region clean and active. Bait activity is key. Normally when you see the visible signs of bait, the fish are there. So trolling up and down those rock walls that come out of the man-made drains, it will hold a lot of fish. Throwing paddle tails like mirror soft shad on an 1/8-ounce jig head has been best right now. And when you see them on top, go get them with some top waters as well. And we have a picture of a young lady with a nice trout here.
Very
All
nice.
right, let's go offshore, Bub.
Offshore, Dorado. We're seeing a lot more Dorado as the water heats up, running up against these current breaks. It seems like anything floating in the Gulf right now has some little chicken dolphin on it. There's tons of bait in these weed lines, some nice ling. We've also seen some big triple tail and scattered wahoo throughout. So when you see these little guys, try a small bucktail jig tipped with the shrimp or squid flavored fish bites. It works great. It stays on the hook. You can catch numerous fish on one piece of bait. As always, a small gold or silver spoon works as well. And these Dorado have been in the 30 to 60 mile range right now. And got a picture of LaDonna with a nice little Dorado.
There she is. All right, what else we got for us offshore?
We got red snapper. As we roll into the 3rd week of red snapper season here in the Upper Coast, the bite is still super strong, starting to pick up some larger fish now. However, due to the stained water and the low salinity inshore, going further out is still going to be your best bet. So fish from 40 miles out and further have been consistently larger, and the bite has been stronger. And we have a photo of one of those larger red snapper right here with Tricia.
Boy, that's a nice one. Thank you so much, Carl. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the MirrOlure hotspots from the Upper Coast region. Carl says the trout in Lower Galveston Bay working rock walls and sand flats with soft plastic paddle tails rigged on an 1/8 ounce jig head like a MirrOlure soft shad in 2 to 4 feet of water. This area can be protected from the inconsistency wind, so remember that. And then offshore, Dorado on any floating debris using small bucktails, jigs tipped with squid, shrimp, or small or gold silver spoons in 30 to 60 mile range. Brie.
Okay, ladies, get your bite and snack on in the Prospect Smokehouse Lower Fresh region on Fayette County, Bastrop, Travis, Belton, LBJ, Choke Canyon, and Amistad. Matt Reed, give us the details.
Well, let's get this thing rolling. Now, ladies, this show is catered to y'all. Do not hesitate to get involved in the fishing world. Yeah, I have ladies clients all the time. Sometimes they come with their husbands or significant others. A lot of times they come on their own, but don't hesitate. I can tailor a trip to fit your day, however you want to do it. So, just don't hesitate. Don't be scared. We're going to go fishing, and you're going to catch some fish. Also, there are a lot of tournament organizations, if a lady that are catered to women, that if you have the desire to fish competitively, it's there. So get out. The main thing is just to get out and do it. Don't be scared. It's all fun, and it's all there for you. Going to move on down. We're going to start talking about the largemouth bass in my little bitty lower region. Start out on Fayette County. As my buddy Greg Boyd says, they're biting everything right now with a laugh symbol. So obviously fishing is really good. Catching them on soft plastics, on the main lake points, and also on the, shallow on the outside of the grass, all the way out to the main lake points in 15 to 20 foot of water. Also catching some on giant crankbaits out to that 25 to 30 foot range. The most productive areas have been along the riprap on the dam and the southern end of the lake, where the main channels are. Lake Bastrop, they're doing well in the mornings on topwater frogs, weightless flukes around the grass. Sun gets higher, move toward the outside edge of the eelgrass, and look for schools of bigger fish positioned there. The biggest key is to find you a creek channel close to that eelgrass where they might school up there. Lake Travis is fishing real well for numbers. They're schooling in the marinas in the morning. If you want to take a bigger bite later in the day, you need to target the docks. Get you a jig and skip it under the docks. You can also skip a weightless fluke under there. That's a great way to catch that bigger fish. Lake Belton is fishing well on the main lake points. And you want a creek channel to swing up close to that point. That's where those fish are congregated. Get your Texas rig in a watermelon colored plastic and fish it real slow and thorough on the edge of those main lake points. Lake LBJ, the dock bite is real strong right now. That's mainly on jigs. On jigs under the dock or belly weighted fluke where you can skip it under there and get it way back in the shade where there's not many lures presented, and that's the best way to catch that big fish. Also, some deep crankbait fish there. They're really grouped up, so you need to cover as much water as you can to find them, and when you find them, it can be lights out. Choke Canyon. Poppers early in the morning and buzz baits on the inside grass line has been the deal. It'll work later in the day as long as it's cloudy. After that, you want to get your Texas rigs on the outside grass line where they make a point close to the deep water. Watermelon red's been the best color. There's also fish in the mats. Get you 1.5 ounce weight, punch it through the solid mat. That is a great way to catch you a big fish. It's kind of takes a while to get a bite, but when you can, it can be the one you're looking for. Like Amistad, fish are biting really well. You catch a ton of fish. Size is just the issue. You can catch a lot on top waters early or swim baits up there shallow. Later in the day, you need to move out to the 15 to 19 foot hydrilla edge on the outside. Get you a big Texas rig worm or a big crankbait, and that's your best shot to catch a big one. Got a picture of a bass there with Lisa. She came on a trip with me recently, and that's one of those big old South Texas fish that I love to see a lady smile while she's holding on to it.
That's awesome.
Lisa.
Tell me about the alligator gar, Matt.
Falcon alligator gar are crazy. Ram Reyes with Texas Kings Outdoors has got them figured out. There's a couple of ways he's targeted them to catch that giant one on a rod and reel. He gets big cut carp or big gizzard shad, fishing them under a cork on the holes and the swings in the river. And it's amazing. You know, these fish are 100 to 200 pounds, and when you catch them like that, you can release them to catch them again another day. The other technique is they bow hunt for them. So it's a great sport either way. You know, got 2 pictures there. That was a couple from this week. You know, you got one giant laying on the deck with a customer there with him, and the other one. You got a lady there. You got his wife. She caught that one on rod and reel the other day.
Love to see the ladies fishing. Thank you so much for the pictures this week, Matt. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh region hotspots from the Prospect lower fresh region. Canyon choke canyon, lake largemouth bass are biting poppers over the submerged hydrilla during the low light times. Later, you can catch them on Texas rig big worms on the outside edges of the grass, or punching a Texas rig soft plastic with big weight through the matted grass for big ones. You see how my dyslexia slipped in there and I switched it?
I did. It's okay. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We do.
All right. It's hot outside, but the tagged red fishing in the CCA Texas Star Tournament is even hotter, with winning fish swimming all over the Texas coast. There are still plenty of huge prize packages up for grabs. Don't forget about the sheep's head, flounder, and gaff top divisions, where you can win a new Shoalwater 19 cat, or youth can win a $50,000 or $25,000 scholarship. So get registered online and get out until September 3rd. CCA, the leader in marine conservation and habitat restoration. All right, we've got one more region left to cover here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, Ladies Edition. But first, I'm headed to the CCA workbench with Dave Ferrell to talk about some new products.
Yeah, you'll look a lot better in these than I will. That's for sure.
Why I'm going to be over there. We'll see you
Of course,
soon,
that goes
Dave.
for everything, doesn't it, Brie?
I cannot wait.
Thanks. Yes. Sure.
I don't know. I rock these pretty good.
Yay.
You look good, Dave.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yeti, built for the wild. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miralure. Building Conservation Trust, CCA's National Habitat Program. And StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
Oh, there it is. You can either stay busy fishing or get busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Over 40 years ago, Mr. Proshek began smoking meat in a little Texas town called Hilgi, combining fresh, grade A ingredients to create a variety of legendary smoked meats. Today, Proshek's Smokehouse is a Texas tradition, and now Proshek's not only satisfies hunger in Texas, but across the country. Visit Prosheks.com and order everything from fresh meats to your choice of jerky. Proshek's meats are made by Prosheks, sold by Prosheks, and can be delivered in as little as a day. Proshek's Smokehouse, a link above.
Hey guys, Captain Rick Murphy here, and I want to talk to you about some of the cool tricks that we use in the Murphy household when it comes to cleaning our boats. You know, keeping up with 3 boats can really be problematic, but we've got it down to a fine science because of some of the great products that Starbright make. Now, our go-to as far as the boat wash is simply the Citrus Boat Wash and Wax. But every once in a while, we gotta have a little bit more brawn. We gotta have something with a little more punch. And it seems like the Extreme Clean really is working very well for us. The reason why I like this is I can spray it on literally everything. I can spray it on my vinyl, I can spray it on my stainless steel, aluminum, as well as the fiberglass, and it doesn't take the wax off. The reason why that's so important is, you know, bleach is certainly not good for your gel coat. It's not good for the environment. When we put our boats in and we pump out the bilge, guess what? The bleach really hurts the mangroves, it hurts the seagrass, and it's not good to have in the water. And the Extreme Clean, as well as most Starbright products, are all biodegradable. But now we've also come out with the Scuff Sponge in the XL size. And the reason why we're using the Extreme Clean so much is because the road grit. Also, people's shoes grinding in the grit into the gel coat when they're walking around on the floors. It also helps me take off any scuffs that they might have, and it's really easy as 1, 2, 3. So when you go down to your next retailer, ask them if they have the Extreme Clean by Starbright.
All right, well, we're here at the CCA Workbench for some new products. Dave, I see some new products we're
Yeah,
going to talk
speaking
about
of stuff
today.
that doesn't stink, me and these.
Yes, we don't stink.
These are really cool. These are
Yeah,
the
they
Costa
are.
Water Womans. These are the shiny Wahoo frame. It's got that nice blue on the bottom there.
Just take these
Mirrored.
off so I can
You know,
show
these
these
are
off.
dedicated to the woman who's ready to go outside and get wet in the water there.
Yeah,
You know,
these are
very,
great.
very good.
Medium-sized
Polarized
frame.
lenses, obviously. Small frame, actually, small frame, and medium-sized lenses in them. There's all polarized. They have great angles on the temples there.
Yep.
Good rubber on the inside as well. This is the Palm Tortoise frame, which is, again, they have the nice temple areas there that keep them in place where you want them.
You know, it blocks out a lot of light too, which is obviously
those are kind of like a
beneficial.
cat eye. Very cool looking.
I like them. Fashion.
Very nice.
And, you know.
Elegant.
Yes, very elegant.
And stylish for the women who
Yes.
rock, just like the women who rock them.
Exactly. All right,
Costa
what's next?
Water Woman is to get those. Next, we have, I'll let you hold this. This is the Sound Vibe Thunder Puck. 26, got to be careful when you say that one.
Yes, you
26
do.
watts. It's got a little suction cup on the bottom where you can stick that thing onto any flat surface, and it turns that surface into the speaker as well. Like if you have a big car hood or you want to put that on the side of a fiberglass boat, it turns that whole side into a speaker, so it makes a really good loud bass. You know, it's great for a boat, or you know, if you don't have an installed radio, it works with a Bluetooth or a straight line. You know, it's got a nice CCA logo on there. You go to the CCA online store and you can get it on there, you know, ccatexas.org.
Perfect.
And you can get that. Also does hands-free calling, so you could do a
That's
conference
nice.
call
If
or
you're on
whatever
the
you
boat,
want to do.
trying to
Exactly.
mix work and fun.
You can do it at home.
Or for our captains,
last but
work.
not least, we have the Bait Butler.
Yeah.
And what this thing does is you can really get your bait out without having to fish for it. You know, you don't have to fish for your bait twice. And when you lift that handle, it lifts up a net on the inside and lifts your bait out of the water in that net so that you can get a good handle on it and grab a hold of it without having to keep fishing around for it. And that'll fit on any bucket. It comes with the little Flambeau aerator on there as well. So, and that thing will last for 40 hours with 2 D-cell batteries in it. It'll, you know, last forever and ever and ever. You'd think the thing's never going to die. And what's really cool about it is it's just one-hand operation. Once this is unlocked here, you pick this up, it opens the lid and lifts the bait up, because that's a big problem when you're trying to hold that lid open and reach in and get the bait and put it on a hook at the same time. You don't want to have to fish for your fish over and over again.
No, you do
And
not.
it also has, you know, all the prerequisite stuff, a little rod holder on one side, all the little rails to put hooks on,
look at that.
and your pliers and whatnot. So, like I said, it'll fit any bucket. You know, get the Bait Butler at flambeauoutdoors.com and keep your bait nice.
Nice. It's even labeled here: rod holder, air hose, aerator clip.
There you go.
Dummy proof. We can do this.
Yeah. And
All
it
right.
keeps your bait so you don't have to keep looking for them once you get them in the boat.
That's really nice. All right, Dave. Well, that was fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right. Well, last weekend was Father's Day, and we have our winners from the Projects Meat giveaway.
Who was it?
Congratulations to Ronnie Pasak, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Matt Ayers.
He's not a relative, is he?
I don't think so. It's Prosac. This is Pasak.
I know.
Hope you enjoy your Projects gift basket. It's going to be finger licking good, I'm sure. All right. Hi, Rick.
Hey.
The ladies are taking over in the Garmin Lower Coast region, and our captain, Chad Kinney, is going to tell you how to join in on the action. Hey, Chad.
I tell you what, right on the Lower Coast here, we got a lot of ladies tournaments throughout the year, and I'll get to you that in a bit. But speaking about ladies, I've noticed over the past few years, especially, there's a lot more women getting involved in the fishing and the outdoors, stuff like that. I've got 3 daughters, and I can attest to this one. You know, I raised some of them, and now they come back fishing from college, and that's all they want to do. So it's an excellent way to grow up. But we get more and more women coming to the store, buying the apparel, buying everything else, and they're really getting into wade fishing and everything else with that. Speaking to the fishing for the tournament stuff, we got some tournaments been going on for years out South Padre Island called Ladies Kingfish Tournament. We fish this thing every year. It's a blast. Probably one of the funnest things we do all year long, and that's in the second week of August. Also, like big bay tournaments, there's Babes on the Bay out of Port Aransas up there. That'll be coming up this summer. And there's also the Texas Women Angler Tournament, which is a lot of tag and release stuff. That's later in the summer out of Port Aransas as well. So there's plenty of stuff to do this summer, and then there's plenty of ladies out there angling. There's some really, really good ones also. Speaking about the fishing, the trout fishing's really good around the grass beds here in Mansfield. Water's dropped back down a bit, which is making it easier for anybody that's wading in some of those deeper areas. You know, stuff that was 5-6 foot deep, you're about 1.5 feet back normal. You can get there in chest deep water and get in some of those deeper grass beds. Throw your favorite color, saltwater assassins, and that's working really well right now in those beds. Like I said, about 3 to 4 foot of water. Fish you've seen, move with those grass beds in there. So throw those and work them really good. If you're throwing top waters, try the mirror lure She Dog on those sand pockets around those grass beds. Been working really well on that, stuff like that also. When you're throwing these saltwater assassins also, if you tip them with the fish bites, I've noticed you're getting a lot more strikes and more aggressive ones on that stuff. It works really well on that. When you're fishing live bait, you can go to some free-line croakers working well. If you're doing that, you don't want to be in the grass. You want to be in the deeper sand pockets still, stay deeper on those. And then along the drop-offs in the East Cut there in Port Mansfield. Got a picture of a really nice trout. Sandra Garza there, who runs a lodge and Getaway Adventures right next door to me. And that's a beautiful trout she released.
That is. What a great picture.
All right. What else you got for us? Tell us, you got snook this week. Go ahead, bud.
Snook, heck yeah. We're here, and it's a unique type deal down here, but the snook fishing is on in South Padre. Head down the South Bay and go to top waters early. I like throwing a little She Dog chartreuse back with that orange belly early on that. Later in the day, switch to saltwater assassins. Shoot shot on that. Tip it with the fish bites on that one too. And be patient and work in these areas. You're not going to get bite after bite after bite, but you're getting good, legitimate 4 to 6 shots at them right now. Some really good fishing. And on these, you're allowed 1 per day per person, 24 to 28 inch. But in my opinion, just practice catch and release on these beautiful fish. Have a good time catching them, fighting them, take a good pick, and we'll go ahead and release them on that. Port of Brownsville Ship Channel is also producing a bunch of stuff on the snook, also live shrimp, free line with split shot. And if you want to use fish bites with the 1/8 ounce jig head and work around those pilings and banks and stuff, you got a picture of a beautiful snook here, South Bay, released also.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, it's time to go offshore. I know it's what you love, so tell me about it.
Tell you what, the offshore fishing, it's great when you can get out there. We've had some unusual winds this summer here, but when it gets slick and it gets decent and you can get out there, there's definitely producing some good numbers of fish. Wahoo fishing's been hitting out good. I've been finding most of those fish from about 250 out to the canyon, which is about 100 fathom curve out there. Look for rips and weed lines. These rips aren't really huge. I've been finding the small ones are little weed lines and pockets of sorghum might only go about 100 yards long, and then they peter off and die off like that. So when they're scattered like that, they're going to hold real tight. So rig your islanders. There's a heavy weight, which is I really like using. Rig down it with a ballyhoo. This thing's like 4 ounces. You can troll it deeper. You can troll it at higher speeds. It works really good. Been producing great. Another thing when you're using these islanders, best thing to do, guys, is the night before, pre-rig plenty of them. Get your ballyhoo rigged down, stack up 10, 12 of them at least in a decent ice chest or a flat tray there on ice, and have them ready to go. So that way when you get on a good bite, you can start switching them out really quick, get them done like that. And then when you're traveling from spot to spot, you can go ahead and pre-rig the ones that you got in there, and you'll be in a lot better shape. If you're fishing some structure like that, or you find some smaller sorghum lines, I really like pulling 3 lines. Lots of guys tell me, you need to pull 5 or 7, this and that. The 3 lines, I really love, and that's the reason why. You can clear your lines a lot quicker. These fish are fast. They move quick, and if you get multiple knockdowns, you got a lot more success to land both of them. And also, the main thing is maneuverability. So when you're on these smaller weed lines, you can move around them, move around the edges, or if you find a pallet drifting out there, you can make quicker turns and everything else like that. You don't have to worry about all your other lines out there. And make sure to always check your lures, and especially watch for those short strikes and those wahoos. They'll come out, 20 foot out of the water. If you're watching your baits and your rod tip, when you move, you bring your bait back in, and that wahoo, it's a clear indicator if it's a wahoo. He's got that bite right behind that hook, and it's clean cut.
Tell me about this picture of wahoo and dolphin quickly, bub.
Yep, we got a great picture. I've had some ladies out this past weekend on Father's Day, and they got to reel in a good wahoo. We went 4 for 6 on wahoo, and it's a 40-pound wahoo. You're caught by Amy and Misty.
Nice. Go, girls.
All right, so we got about a minute on the dolphins, so go ahead.
Okay, on the Dorado, on some of those pictures also you'll see here in a bit, but like around those same pallets or weed lines I'm talking about, go ahead and pull some cedar plugs.
All right, we got to go, Chad. Sorry, we ran out of time, so let's go ahead and look at the hot spots for the lower coast region. Inshore, trout fishing remains good on the grass beds out of Port Mansfield. Snook fishing's been great in South Bay of South Padre. Snapper fishing excellent in federal waters. Walleye have been good, and good numbers around structure holding on deeper weed lines. Floating debris are holding some Dorados as well.
Can't make up your mind tonight, can you?
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to go fast, go slow.
Fine.
It's that snook in
my
Texas.
producer ain't counting down nothing, man. She ain't telling me nothing.
The ladies are saying, a lot of the captains said it's intimidating for the ladies. Ladies, go online, learn how to rig your own baits, learn how to tie your own knots. It's really great when you can do it from the bait to the bite and get it up on there, go fishing, get a big one, and thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.